Hi guys, so here are 5 tools that could help you find a job during the pandemic. I wrote this blog a few days ago and I reached 150 reads, and I thought I could reach more audience by shooting this video. So let's get right into it. So the first tool is the specific list of companies that are actively hiring during the pandemic. LinkedIn has published this list a few days ago, and they continue to update it almost every day. So the list of companies include companies in multiple industries, including health, technology, education, sales, retail, wholesale, cargo, transport, catering, and telecommunication, and others. Now, the beauty about this list is that no matter what your industry is, you will find a company that is actively hiring during the pandemic. And so if you want to see the list, just click here. I did the legwork for you so that you can just go to the list right away and open up this page on LinkedIn where you can see a full list of the companies that are actively hiring during the pandemic. So as you see here, CVS, so there's health, Walmart, retail, FedEx, so cargo or transport, Pizza Hut, so there's food or catering and restaurants, there's Lowe's, also again retail. So let's say, for example, you want to work for, let's say, CVS. So you would hit this link where it would take you to the page of this company. You would also see full profile, and then you can hit jobs. It would open up the page where you can see the jobs. If you see them, all of them, you can see. Hit see all jobs. It would open the list of jobs that are currently available and being actively hiring for in this particular company, and here where you can see the number of pages of the jobs. So I would give it a shot and explore this list, and if something is of interest to you, I would apply to it. Good luck. Okay, now the second tool is freelancing. According to Freelancing in America 2019, the freelance market reached $1 trillion and it's expected to increase. This will tell you how competitive this market is. Now, the beauty about freelancing is that they have a pretty high per hour rate. So, for example, the median rate of a freelancer is $28 per hour, which is actually higher than the rate of 70% of workers in other industries. Now, actually, over 28% of freelancers in a survey conducted by Upwork took freelance as full-time job versus part-time job. So this should tell you how people are viewing freelance market these days as a full-time job. Now, if you might think that freelance opportunities might require advanced, well-established, or well-developed skills, that could be true in specific areas such as web design, web development, etc. But actually, some other freelance opportunities might require some skills that could be more reachable or could be more developed in a timely manner. For example, some of the sought after freelance opportunities on Fiverr, which is one of the well-known platforms for freelancing, is editor, proofreader, tutor, writer, virtual assistant, admin support, etc. Now, if you are new to freelancing and you didn't do this before, especially if you want to freelance in a new area, you may need to reinvent yourself, and you may very well seek some help from a freelancer who's an expert in building and redesigning and redeveloping your resume and professional social media in order for you to receive some offers on any of these freelance platforms. Now, I created the legwork for you. I created a list of the most well-known freelance platforms, and the list includes Upwork, TopTal, Fiverr, Freelancer, and Guru. So let's take a look at Upwork, for example. It's one of the very well-known platforms for freelancing. where you could sign up or log in if you already have an account and build your profile. So one of the strategies I use in order to build a profile for any of my customers is that you get an idea of how other freelancers in this particular area charge. For example, if you go to full stack web developer and you see how other freelancers in this area charge in order for you to decide on how much you should also charge. For example, this freelancer charges $115 per hour, and he's doing pretty well. He's made $200,000. This freelancer charges $80 per hour, and he's made $100,000. Etc. So it just gives you an idea how high you should rate. But also you could benefit from these filters. For example, you could rate them. As you see here, the hourly rate could be as low as $10 or even less, and as high as $60+. So I would recommend that you explore this list and build your profile on at least two of these platforms so that you can increase success. So the more profiles you have on these platforms, the more likely you will be to receive some projects. So good luck. Okay, now the third tool is teaching online. I have created a list of you for the institutions or schools that are currently hiring in different levels, higher education, K-12, and tutoring or adults. Now, if you taught before online, then you're good to go and you can start applying for the list, and we'll come to this in a minute. If you even didn't teach before in online, then you could still do it. You might just need to invest a few hours learning how to teach online using a specific platform that you will be using when you teach for whatever company you will be or institution you will be working for. Most institutions use Canvas and or Zoom in order to teach online. So if you didn't use these platforms before, I would recommend that you just get some tutorials or training on that. So now let's get to the list. So the first list includes the institutions of higher education. And this list includes the institutions that are primarily online, especially institutions from 1 through 8. So, for example, Western Governors University, Southern New Hampshire University, Grand Canyon University, etc. These institutions are well known for teaching primarily online. And so these institutions are currently hiring. So let's try, for example, one of these institutions, which is West Governors University. If you click on the link, you would just take you to the list of jobs that are currently active. And you can see, like, for example, this is 5 days ago, 7 days ago, etc. 22 days ago. So these have been posted, and this is today, for example. So it tells you that these are very active or very recent jobs. So it also tells you that these institutions are actively and currently hiring, unlike many of the other institutions who may very well have some jobs on the career page on their websites, but this doesn't necessarily mean that they are currently hiring during the pandemic. Okay. Now, number 9 includes the traditional or the public institutions, many of whom are actually also hiring, and you may want to track this on other traditional platforms, such as Inside Higher Education or Chronicle or Higher Ed jobs. One main reason why I put them down in the list is that many or some of the jobs available on these platforms are expired already. So you may want to look at the date when the jobs have been posted. Now, if you are a teacher or you want to teach online for K-12 schools, I created a list for you. Maybe it's a shorter list. Let's take a look at Teach Away, for example. It's one of the platforms where you can submit a profile and teach online. So, for example, you put online teaching jobs, all positions, search jobs, and will take you to the list of the jobs. Here, so many positions that have been posted more recently. So I would submit an application. If you submit one application, I guess it would be good for all these similar positions since they are with the same platform. Now, if you are a tutor, if you can teach adults, you can teach anything. Let's say, for example, English or math or writing or speaking, etc. So I have also created a list for you in order to build and apply to one of these positions in tutoring. So let's take a look at iTutor. It's one of the good platforms where I myself submitted a profile or an application and they give me a call shortly after. So for example, you want to apply now so that you can see the that they have, let's say, search without putting a specific job, then you would see them all the jobs that they currently have. Okay, the fourth strategy is changing industries, and this might sound a little bit interesting. Some industries have been negatively impacted than others by the pandemic, and so it makes sense if those people, especially in the area that has been a hard hit, to think of changing industries. Now, if you think to move to a new industry, maybe you need to think of your skills, your strengths, and your passion, and what you've been praised for in the past that wasn't necessarily part of your job, and then speak the language of the new area or the new industry. And the caveat here is that some people might not necessarily be able to do that, especially people who have very well established life and very well structured career path. But in any event, if you decide to make this decision, which is actually a tough decision, keep in mind that many of your skills are transferable skills. So think of these skills as an asset that you have rather than as a hindrance so that they can enable you to perform in the new industry or the new area. Again, this is not an easy decision to make. It's a tough one. And if you can't make the decision by yourself, then maybe you seek help from an expert in career development. Okay, now the fifth and last strategy is being open to opportunities in other countries. Now, just as some industries have been negatively impacted by the pandemic than others, also some countries have been negatively impacted by the pandemic than others. Now, obviously, unemployment rate in the United States have gone up substantially over the past 2 months. Now, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. unemployment rate jumped to 14.7% in April 2020. And according to Wall Street Journal, unemployment rate is expected to jump to 17% in June. So I have created a chart for unemployment rates during the pandemic over the past 2 months, April and also May. And obviously, unemployment rate for the United States is here is almost among the highest three rates in the world. So unemployment rate, for example, in other countries is much less or much lower. For example, in Germany, Austria, the UK, Poland, Finland, Australia, France, even Italy, which is actually a hard hit by the pandemic. And so, given these statistics, I would consider opportunities in these countries where unemployment rate is a little bit lower than unemployment rate in the United States. And so I created a list for you for the countries that are actively or currently hiring during the pandemic. And I included some English-speaking countries, including Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, where unemployment rate is much less than unemployment rate in the United States currently. So, for example, if you don't want to travel across the Atlantic or across the Pacific, maybe you want to consider Canada. So, for example, the Canadian government is currently hiring, or also the other website, Canada Jobs, here, where you can see the list of jobs. So I would give it a shot, especially if you lost your job during the pandemic and it's being difficult to find a job these days. I would also consider opportunities in these countries. So there are also included in the list websites for jobs in Australia and the United Kingdom. If you want to consider other countries, take a look at this list, which includes 8 platforms where you can submit a profile. For example, Teach Beyond here, where you can see a list of uh, teaching positions online, where you can some of them could be online, where you can still be here in your home country or the United States and teach, or some of them could be like you would have to travel physically. But also Times Higher Education, for those who are in academia like me, may consider this a very nice website, THE, Times Higher Education, which actually posts jobs in academia across the world. Again, some of them could be online, some of them could be you would have to travel to these countries. Like, for example, I see many positions here in Singapore. Um, so many positions that are currently here at Lancaster University. Many positions are currently open. It just takes some time to find these opportunities, and this is why I thought it would be helpful to create all these links for you. So I think if you consider 2 or 3 of these strategies, you would be more likely to find a job during the pandemic, and I hope that you will. That's all for you. If you think that the content of this video was helpful, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like below. And I wish you all the best in your search endeavor. Thank you, and I'll see you next video.